All right, Lady Ada, what is this?
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Show and Tell. I was just muting my phone because I want to give my full attention to everyone who's going to come by and show off their cool projects, whether it's making, hacking, coding, soldering, robot making, or just showing off retro stuff. We'd love to see it. Come on by. We're in Discord. The Show and Tell link is there. It's StreamYard. You just need a webcam and a computer and your beautiful smile. Let's start it off with Jay.
We're going to start with Jay and Robot Friend. We got a little bit of a preview. Yeah, we got a little bit of a preview before the show. Jay, what are you and your companion doing this week?
This is Digit. This is my newest and probably the last one for a while, companion bot, which I finally got the wearability done. So now it has accelerometer in it that balances on the shoulder.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it balances.
It's like those videos
super comfy too.
The chicken when they like move it around and the chicken's head stays in the same spot. And then, yeah, this is cool.
But we're also able to add a large language model thanks to my friend Sean Himmel.
Yeah.
We were working together and I got to put this together, which is using a NVIDIA board and running a large language model.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow. So that's the local language model that you can have Digit use to interact with you.
You don't need Wi-Fi or account.
One of the biggest problems when it comes to making a smart robot that I've run into, other than having it do facial recognition, which is fine, but I wanted something that can talk back. But the problem is that you always need Wi-Fi, and when you go out to events, not a lot of places have Wi-Fi. So we had to find a way to make it run locally. So luckily, me and Sean were able to work together, and we're able to get a version of Ollama running with Piper TTS to actually create Digit's personality. So when I say something like, "Hey, Digit," and then I wait for the wake word to actually hear me. Sorry, I don't think the microphone is on. "Hey, Digit." Oh, there we go. Tell me a joke.
That was a brain-inducing pun. Can I try to help you with something else? Like calculating the best route for your next adventure.
Things like that happen when it can't understand what I was saying. So we've been able to give it some quirks, but it's mostly just a very large language model. It's always listening. It's always waiting for its wake word, but we're still trying to improve it. I want to eventually have it have its own memory, so I can do it. It knows what it is thus far. So if I say, "Hey, Digit," or "Hey, Digit," still work out the kinks. "Hey, Digit." Oh my gosh, it cannot hear me right now. "Hey, Digit." There we go. "Who are you?"
I'm Digit, a helpful assistant created by Jayy, a robotics visionary and sci-fi nerd. I'm here to assist you with any questions or tasks you may have.
So like that.
That's so cool. You did it.
Outstanding. We have a bunch of videos of us when we were doing, machine learning on the edge, where I was trying to do our own wake words, and you had to train a model, you do Docker, and it was really, 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 really hard. Like you need, a Montana-sized data center to do and pull off a lot of these things. The fact that you're able to do this locally and then have physical things happen is impressive, and you're doing a live demo. This is really neat. So
that's cool. Especially locally, it's not hard if you can use Wi-Fi, but if you're stuck to do everything locally, it's challenging.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a problem we were having. This has technically been like a 2 to 3 month long project. I'm finally, this one's done for right now because I really want to work on something else. But having it run locally, there have been super issues with it because we're worried about power, how we're going to travel with it. There's always been like issues where something were to happen. If there's no screen, we can't see what's happening. So when we originally we were having the NVIDIA board talk to a Raspberry Pi, and we're having it go through there, but then we realized the Raspberry Pi could be taken out if we just use a Bluetooth speaker and have the Bluetooth speaker connected to an NVIDIA board and have the Bluetooth speaker I'm using an Arduino as well that's connected to a Bluetooth speaker, and that's taking the threshold of the analog input from the speaker and allowing the pincers to move.
Yeah.
So nerdy science stuff.
Yeah. Well, one thing, if you watch Ask an Engineer later, Particle, they're doing a Kickstarter with a Tachyon, which is, a very super powered Raspberry shaped board, and it has 5G. So eventually, things are happening, but I think this is a good example of when people say I'm really worried that like Terminator robots are going to take over, all this stuff is so fragile, as in like the screen doesn't work, it's over, the battery doesn't work, you know, like nothing's taking over anything.
Yeah.
You know, except for
I'm never worried of robots taking over. People who are worried about robots taking over never built a robot.
We are so far away. None of this really works as far as like interactions with the physical world. You know, AI with credit scores and everything is a nightmare. This though, we got plenty of time to outrun these things.
Yeah.
So this is a great
can't run yet. This is
time to make robot friends.
Yeah, I'm sticking with robot friends. We have a YouTube video me and Sean actually did at DigiKey, which we're hoping to come out pretty soon. I'm not sure when the release date for that is, but we will go into more information on this. And of course, you'll have the write-up for the code, because you can play with the code and easily change the wake word to be whatever you want, and also give it personality quirks, because I sometimes make this one passive-aggressive just because I find it funny. But you can always do more things and edit those things. I think that's a fun way of like interacting with robots better and getting people used to it instead of thinking straight Terminator.
Yeah, the wake word stuff, that was the hard part for the machine learning on the edge projects we were doing, because everything kind of has to be compiled. Like you had to figure it all out in advance. But with these LLMs and the ones that are more portable, because you see lots of projects where people are starting to run these on, I'll have an old iPhone or like an old Android. I'm like, they're starting to do a lot of things. That'll be neat because the screen and the battery are taken care of for, you know, display stuff. Eventually you could possibly have phone guts power stuff like this. But the wake word stuff, that's where it gets really personalized and people can make it their own. And that's where it starts. And so, you know, you name it and then you have it do some tasks. And then you could start to have some of these robots with a data set that only you control. So it only has, you know, certain things it can pull from. And that's its like dictionary. So
the most issues that I've run into and things I do want to improve is definitely we're using an NVIDIA Jetson Orin board, which has extremely fast processing power because we were originally running it on a laptop and that took like 20 seconds to reply. But eventually I want to get to a point where it's a lot faster. I want to design some like certain files that it can look up. So when people ask it personal questions, it can be like, oh, I like this, or oh, you like that. And they can remember those things. So there's a lot more programming development that's going to come in the future. But for design wise and current, like I need a break from it. Like I don't have a kid or anything like that, but I can imagine there are moments where you're just like, I love you, but please.
They do go to sleep.
Babysitters and relatives, you get a little bit of a break.
I was trying to find a babysitter for Digit, but like I'm worried because then I get like a little worried that this stranger have my robots and it's going to teach them things. But it sometimes does pick up on some quirks. I've noticed like it will remember certain things, and I'm not sure if I'm okay with you knowing that. It's going to delete those files.
It's like a parrot.
Yeah.
All right, well, keep coming back with Digit, and thanks for coming by. I think this was a neat glimpse of the future and the present all at the same time.
All right, thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
And thanks, Digit.
Later.
Good to meet you.
All right. Hello, Dan. What's your wake word?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah. Is it a certified number? What is this?
So I've got this is old technology. I've had this for a while. I just wanted to show you. This is a netbook. This is a Dell Mini.
Yeah, those were like cool for like 8 months.
It was right. This is from 2008, and I actually even bought it from the Dell outlet then because it's not that popular. But to show you, I've got a camera here if you want to.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to that right now.
To that, yeah. So this is 9 inches wide, and the screen is also 9 inches.
Yeah.
Right now, it's running an Ubuntu update.
How's it run?
It runs okay, actually. It's got an Intel Atom 32-bit processor, which isn't supported anymore. Only the 64-bit ones are, but I used this for quite a while. It's a little bit chunky on the side, like it's maybe an inch thick when it's closed, but it's very lightweight compared with a laptop.
At the time,
we didn't have Chromebooks yet, so there was no like small, light, low-cost laptops were like $3,000-$4,000. This is amazing because they were like $299.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were great. And the other thing I'll show you that's kind of funny is it came with this keyboard, which was sort of small enough, and you can see like chicken sized as it's as it's called, tiny shift key.
Yeah.
But you could buy this. Some of the characters were like alternate shift things, so you could buy this international keyboard, which has even skinnier keys.
Oh.
So, I don't know if you can see how like this key is like half.
Yeah, they're like 3/4 size.
It's really small. Like you have to have, like notice that my finger just fits on top of this shift key. It even overlaps it a little.
These were meant for just reading email and composing something fast. I mean, these were also iPhones weren't terribly popular yet, so people were like, "Well, how do I get on the internet without high?" I mean, it was kind of it was a weird phase in time.
Right. But I liked it because it was so light and I could bring it on vacation without carrying around this.
It was basically like a little email machine. You could get on Wi-Fi and just like quickly look up stuff because again, people didn't have iPhones yet.
Right.
And so there was no like, how do I do internet things without going to an internet cafe? Right. It's or like the office center of the hotel.
Did that have a PCMCA card? Because I'm trying to remember my intersection with this because I had a Ricochet card. I don't know if anyone
there were other ones that had it, but this one does not.
Yeah,
it has Ethernet and it has an SD card reader.
The deal had SD card and like 2 USB slots, but it had like nothing else.
I had wireless and it was like PSL speeds.
It was pretty cute, and it still works. It works fine. I think the batteries.
No, there's no Ethernet, but there was built-in Wi-Fi and I think Bluetooth.
Oh, it does have Ethernet too. No, it is Ethernet.
Oh, it does have Ethernet?
Ooh.
Yeah. This one was I kind of way like this was better than a lot of the other ones. Because
that's kind of nice. Most Chromebooks don't even have Ethernet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to get an adapter for it.
I know. I feel it's
a little bit of a step back.
Yeah.
So in that say, like when I see this, I remember Ricochet, which was this like wireless DSL thing. I was using it to the last second when they turned it all off. And then there was small, laptop netbooks, whatever. And they had the transmeta processor. And that was like a big deal because it was Torvalds a very different approach to processors. No, it didn't work.
Well, people thought virtualization. Like, people had different ideas about what virtualization was. Like we ended up we ended up doing it.
First RISC-V too, or was it?
No, RISC-V didn't exist.
Okay, I thought it was something else.
It was
emulation. Like it was.
Yeah.
It was a RISC processor. It wasn't RISC-V because that didn't exist.
Yeah.
But it was like it could emulate Intel.
Yeah, that was the idea. So cool. All right, Dan. Well, thanks for coming by with this retro hardware this week. We're unpacking.
Everyone's like, I love netbooks.
Yeah, well, we're unpacking our personal life since we moved, and Adafruit is now an Industry City in Brooklyn, and we're unpacking all of the Adafruit retro stuff for our Adafruit Retro Hardware Museum that we're finally able to have. So I'll be bringing by an entire collection of mistakes and time sucks that I've had, from pocket PCs to wearables that the size of a shield on your arm.
That'd be great. They're like the Station 11 technology.
Not a lot of stuff. Not a lot of stuff. All right, Dan. Well, thanks so much.
They be called like sub notebooks, but there was one I'm trying to remember that was like I saw in like 2005. It was not the Asus.
Before the Asus?
Yeah, it was really early. It started with L, and it was like the most adorable thing in the world, but it was really expensive.
I mean, I had this thing where I had a Sony Palm Pilot, and
the Clean A.
I hooked to my candy bar phone, and I could do.
Oh, the libretto.
The librettos are nice.
Remember the libretto?
Yeah.
Everyone saw that, and they were like, "Oh my god! Like, I need to have." They were so useless.
There's also the Xeon, which was like little. And there was the Symbian OS. There's a lot of neat things. So we'll have some of these examples in our Adafruit Retro Museum, but we'll also have, of course, them online virtually, and we'll show these off on Show and Tell.
Libretto is a great name for a laptop too.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Dan.
Okay.
All right. Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. All right.
Okay. We get to todbot.
Todd.
What do you got?
Am I too late?
No,
you're exactly on time. What do you got going on?
Real quick, so I got some Raspberry Pi Picos, Pico 2s, And so I really quickly wrote a thingy. Let's see if I can show it real quick.
Thingy.
That it's a rotary encoder and a round LCD and an I2S DAC. And when you push the button, it emits a little note.
How cool. It's like a little palm tin. So each note is a color, and when it hits, it activates.
Sorry, what was that?
So each color is a note, and then
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, let's see if I can put it up to this one. So
and then
I've
it
unplugged
slowly dims over time, or like because they're now all green.
No, because Synth.io by default currently can play only 12 notes. If you put a 13th note in, then the last note.
Oh, I see. Okay. So they're not changing colors. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's like a fun little like tactile haptic.
This is like Bjork's kid's toy. Like this is really neat. I remember there was like an app that tried to do this a long time ago, where the notes would bounce around, but now you can do it on a microcontroller.
That's cool. So how do you compare this to the RP2040? How does that?
The best thing, this is stereo CD quality audio coming off of the CircuitPython, off of the Pico 2 in CircuitPython, instead of the like 22 kilohertz that you have to kind of downshift to when you're doing display and other stuff.
Yeah.
So you basically just get that extra, it's the extra SRAM or the extra processor speed?
I think mostly for Synth.io, it's the extra processor speed and probably floating point as well.
And the floating point, yeah, that definitely helps a lot. Okay, cool. Yeah, especially for audio stuff, which is all floating point.
I think this is a good demo that I can link to someone if they're like, well, what's the differences between the two? What can I do? And so you get, the display refresh it looks great.
Like, yeah, no flicker.
Yeah, we're still using the Display.io compositor, so and like the fact that we're doing the display updates over SPI, so there's kind of a limit of how fast your frame rate's going to be.
But you're refreshing the whole screen. I mean, like that's a non-trivial amount of refreshing.
Yeah.
It's really smooth.
Nice.
And we're watching it over video. Okay, yeah. I usually post up code or examples or something. Are you going to do that for this? Because someone's going to ask me.
Yeah. This is on. I just posted a gist and a little post on Mastodon with a YouTube link to a video demonstrating this, and I'll put that in the Discord as well.
Okay, great. Yeah, and if this is something that you want to see folks do, you can get it over to Playground or just bug JP to put it on a learn.
Totally.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for this. Is a great demo. Timely. We're showing off the Picos tonight. They're in stock and more.
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
All right. Thanks so much, Hannah. That's our show and tell for the night this night. Thank you so much, everyone, for making this our favorite half an hour or so every single week. We do show and tell Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Every single week, come on by, show retro stuff, show robots that can talk, bring by high performance microcontrollers running Python, all those things and more. We'll see everybody next week. Ask an Engineer starts in just a few minutes. Bye-bye.
See you soon.